it wasn't until I got traded here, I got traded to Miami, that I felt that family feel again. And I killed it that first year.
Oh, yeah. Listen, let me tell you something, boy. The city was on fire.
Welcome back to the OGs. UD, this is a Playmaker original brought to you by DraftKings. Look at that. Season 2, we getting corporate, coach.
I just came from practice, Killer.
I know, I can see that.
You locked in. Excuse me. Yeah, I'm getting ready for the weekend.
You locked in.
Yeah, I'm getting ready for the weekend.
We got us a real OG in the building today, though, UD. A real OG in the building. And you look better with that face mask on.
Hey, wait till we get out camera. Next episode might not have a black eye.
No, for real though, Ricky. Appreciate you coming in the building, man. I'm serious. Big fan. I was excited when we got this one on the docket to come in here.
Dog, did you say Dolphin great?
Dolphin legend.
Thank you.
Texas legend. What you want to? You don't want to talk about Texas?
We just want to talk about the Dolphins.
Well, I want to talk about Texas for a second.
Okay, go ahead. Talk
How
about
the
Texas.
hell you get from San Diego to Austin, Texas?
You know, we were
I'm just
talking.
asking.
Actually, I didn't need it because I was drafted by the Phillies out of high school, and there's a rule. Well, there ain't no rules now, but back in the day, you couldn't be a professional athlete in one sport and receive a scholarship. So the Phillies paid for my education, and they gave me a little extra change. So I was doing all right.
That's
As a kid, I always thought I was going to be a professional baseball player.
Wild,
I
man.
grew up in San Diego. I was a big Tony Gwynn fan.
okay.
And then middle school, I started playing football, and I just like to hit people, and I could run. So I had an opportunity to get a scholarship, and I just fell in love with college football. And so I had a dream to play, kind of be like Bo Jackson and play college football and professional baseball. And I got to do it for 4 years. But I said, if I'm going to do college football, I want it to be the best possible experience. So I had a checklist. I said, first, I got to start as a freshman. I said, second, it's got to be a big program that's kind of been on the way back because I want to be that missing piece that puts us back on the map. Part of that, we got to play on national television. And then it has to feel like a family kind of atmosphere. And so I went on my recruiting trips, and I went to Texas, and it just checked all the boxes.
I'm telling you, man. When I was doing a little recon on this to get going, like today's day and age, if a dude playing baseball, playing other sports, everyone knows because social media.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't even know you were drafted in baseball coming out. Like, I do stuff with Kyler Murray. I don't think that stuff gets talked about. Like, to be drafted in baseball and play professional football is unbelievable.
Yeah. First of all, people, baseball hard.
And that's what I'm saying.
It's one of the hardest sports, if not the hardest. Somebody's throwing a ball at you 95 to 100 miles an hour. You got a split second to make a decision whether you're going to swing or not. And then the next time he might throw your ass a changeup at 76, and you're going to fall over the plate and embarrass yourself.
Ricky, I can't
You don't understand how hard baseball. I got to take this guy.
I can't take this.
I got to take this helmet
I can't take this fucking guy serious right now.
Listen, I can't. How you do this?
Hey.
He must have smoked that Heisman before he got on set.
I got to take that off. Welcome to the OG Show, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, that's too good. That's too good.
I'm a real fan, guys. This actually came from my house. This is no props. This actually came from my house. This is my jersey. I'm a real fan. Just to let you guys know, not a fair weather fan. And we ain't having the season that we hope to have, but I'm still in the ring every Sunday fighting with you. If you need me, call me. I'm there.
It's not too late, and that's the helmet, that's the face mask and the visor that I used to wear.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, that's it.
I know. We're going to get into that a little bit later, but we're going to go back to the baseball. What position did you play?
So I played third base my whole life, but when I got drafted, they put me in left field. I got to play left field.
Left field. Mm-hmm. So I question, because I have a son that plays baseball. And at that time, I think about your time, the statistics were a little bit higher. I think it's about 8%.
Yeah.
African-American in MLB.
Yeah.
Now it's going down to about 4 or 5% African-American in MLB. Mm-hmm. Was it hard as an African-American kid playing baseball? Was it tougher, a little bit tougher on you?
It was a different age where you know I can name 10 off the top of my head that were athletes playing baseball. But like you said, the numbers have gone down. But I grew up in San Diego, watching Tony Gwynn when I was real young, watching Ozzie Smith. So I had role models I had role models, you know.
Yeah.
I grew up watching Eric Davis. I saw Eric Davis last week at an autograph signing. Daryl Strawberry. So it was like Ricky Henderson.
So yeah, he named some OGs
I
for
love
real.
that Dallas
That's what
Strawberry
I'm
put the
saying.
paws on your ass too. Dallas Strawberry knock your block off. Boy, Dallas Strawberry real for that.
Yeah, but it's different now. You know, baseball's not what it used to be.
Yeah, yeah.
So you can hit that. You can hit it too, huh? Because I'm with him.
Sometimes,
That's the hardest thing in the business.
Sometimes I can hit it, but you know, baseball is one of those things you just got to have enough reps. And growing up, we didn't really have money like that, so I couldn't play summer ball and winter ball like all the other kids. I was just an athlete. And when I got drafted, they saw that I could run, I could hit a little bit, and I could play the field, and I got an opportunity. It was cool because, you know, especially going to Texas and playing football, it's like they worship you. Yeah. And then minor league baseball, it's like the opposite. You know? it's like we stay in comfort ends.
Oh, hell
and
no.
we got to share a room. No. It's a lifestyle, but it kept me humble. Yeah. It kept me humble and kept me in really good shape. And I got stories to tell, you know, of traveling on buses and playing spades all night. It was a cool experience.
Yeah, I'm joining the kickball team before I stay in the Comfort Inn. Yeah, I'm on the hopscotch squad before I stay in the Comfort Inn, Jack.
Hey,
hell ain't nowhere in hell.
Yeah, he bougie.
No, that's not happening.
Hey, so we know how you did. We watched you at Texas and obviously in the NFL dominate dudes. What were you doing to guys in high school as a running back?
Yeah, it was.
I mean, Jesus. It's got to be a video game.
It's got to be ridiculous.
It had to be a video game.
If you did that in college,
I
that's what I'm saying.
I was big and I'm explosive, and I love contact. So I love contact more than the linebackers.
Poor San Diego. Poor San Diego white kids were getting smashed.
Yeah, it was fun.
You talk about baseball and you talk about being from San Diego. Are you a Padres fan?
Mm-hmm. Sure am.
Tony Gwynn.
Cool.
Tony Gwynn. Yeah.
Man hit every ball.
Listen, I was rooting for them against in the playoffs.
They almost had it.
And against the Dodgers.
Yeah.
I was rooting for the Padres against the Dodgers. Manny Machado, shout out to Manny Machado, 305 guy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Third baseman are athletic. Manny Machado plays third.
You gotta be.
Jazz Chisholm plays third. These guys that play third baseman are athletic guys.
You gotta have reflexes. You gotta be able to come in on the bunts and make that throw. You gotta have an arm.
You gotta have an arm because
yeah.
that ball go down that third base line. You gotta gun somebody out at first.
Especially if you gotta go from the back and you gotta throw across your body, across the diamond. That's
I know a
tough
little
play.
baseball.
You could tell his son's playing out because at Florida when I met him, you'd have thought that shit was cricket. He had no idea what football, baseball was. Now his son played. Now he's talking about Manny Machado, Jazz shit. Like,
Hey,
come on,
man, don't do me like that, man. Listen, everybody ain't able, man. I only knew football and basketball growing up. I ain't have a chance to play baseball. Now I got to be out there in batting cage at my house.
So you go to Texas, obviously win the Heisman. But a dope story that I heard I thought was classic was that the first time you smoked weed, the next 2 games you rushed for over 300 yards.
It wasn't the first time. It was the first time that I really noticed that there was something to it. Because I grew up in San Diego and people, it's like that culture. So it was around. I was around it, and then I got to college, and on Friday nights when my teammates were shooting dice, they were passing blunts around. So I just was trying to be cool with them until I hit it a little bit. But yeah, I just go home and go to sleep. But my senior year, I came back from my senior year and just had a bad 2 weeks. Just a really personal stuff, football stuff, and I just was thinking my attitude was so bad. I was just thinking, why did I come back for this? I was like, I just imagining being in the league and just feeling sorry for myself. Yeah. And my roommate was like, you need to chill, So he was a smoker, so he slid his bong over, and I took 2 hits, coughed, and went upstairs. And I remember laying down, and it was the first. I noticed it was the first time in 2 weeks I wasn't obsessing about all the bad stuff, and my mind started thinking about, okay, we got practice tomorrow. Like, what am I gonna do to get back on track? And so I had a wonderful week of practice, and that next game I think I had 312. The following week I had 350, and I was back in the Heisman Trophy race.
I retired 5 years ago and I haven't ran for 300 yards.
I was supposed to say, first of all, who runs for 300 yards?
I haven't ran 300 yards since I retired.
Who runs? That's some mad. Who runs for 300 yards, bro?
350.
350. That's crazy. Yeah. I literally, and this is something that I recognize because I know your history and I know your story. And I was doing the interview just now and I had the helmet on, and I remember speaking back, you used to do the interview with the helmet on.
With that same face mask and that same visor. That's why I was like,
that's crazy. And it was no pun intended. But then I started thinking about it as we were talking that you used to do the interviews with your.
That's why I thought you was doing it. At the
No,
beginning.
man, I'm a fan. That's how I was doing it.
But that's being a fan because that's what I used to do.
But he used to do that. As I was interviewing you with it on, I thought about it. I was like, he used to do his interviews with his helmet on.
Yeah.
And you know, I'm big on mental health. We actually just had a mental health summit and teen suicide prevention summit with my foundation. So I'm big on mental health. But just talk about when you used to do the interviews with your helmet on and just the whole thought process of being who you are on the football field and being able to just exercise that side of yourself. But then when you get into interviews, it's not as easy to exercise that side of yourself. Because if I'm not mistaken, the reason why you kept the helmet on was because I guess it was a little bit uncomfortable at first, maybe, or what was the thing?
So yeah, I mean, it's part of that, but it was more of like I was rebelling against the way the media was treating me as an athlete. Because I'm the kind of person, I was good enough early enough that I could do what I wanted to do. You know, it's like most big-time college athletes.
Yeah, you know that, Killer. You know how it goes. You want
And so exactly, and so I got to the league, and I thought it was supposed to be the same way. You know, I traded all these picks for me. I'm number one pick, so I just started. I was just being myself, and the media started calling me weird, and it just got twisted. And for me, it was kind of shocking because the same behavior that had people, you know, throwing flowers and praising me in college, when I go to the next level, that same behavior gets me kind of ostracized.
Okay.
And so my whole thing was, you like the media wants to portray me as their idea of what a football player is. That's not who I am, so I'm not going to play this game.
Okay.
And so I felt like the only freedom I had, because in the NFL they say you have to talk to the media. And so for me, just anyone tells me I have to do something, even if I want to do it, right? I have this part of me that comes up and says, well, you know, I'm gonna do it my way at least.
Yeah.
So the only like freedom I had to express my individuality was my rebellion of putting a helmet on. And it gave me a chance because the media would ask me, why do you have a helmet on? And I said, because when you talk about me and you ask me questions, you're only asking the part of me that wears a helmet, the part of me under the helmet you really don't care about, but you want me to pretend like you do by taking my helmet off. So, and that was part of the social anxiety because, like I said, when I went to college, I was looking for a family kind of atmosphere because that's where I thrive. But an atmosphere where, you know, I don't feel like that, then like I don't really want to be there. And so much of my early career, I didn't want to be there because it didn't feel right. I love being on the field, right? Because then you get the family stuff. But in the NFL, you guys, or at least in football, in college, it's like a family. But you go to the league, and especially the rookie that got all this money and all these picks, it's like they weren't really messing with me. Yeah. And so it wasn't until I got traded here, I got traded to Miami, that I felt that family feel again. And I killed it that first year.
Oh, listen, let me tell you something, boy. The city was on fire.
Yeah.
Boy, the city was on fire. You couldn't tell us nothing when we got Ricky Williams, boy. We didn't know we was going to run your ass in the ground like that. Yeah. God damn, I was sitting at home like, all right, coach, just pass them up once or twice. Like, they got 9 in the box. You're going to give it to them again.
With HelloFresh, you get farm, fresh, pre-portioned ingredients and seasonal recipes delivered right to your doorstep. Skip trips to the grocery store and count on HelloFresh to make home cooking easy, fun, and affordable. That's why it's America's #1 meal kit. Make this fall the tastiest season yet with farm fresh produce and easy autumn-inspired recipes delivered right to your door with HelloFresh. HelloFresh delivers all the pre-portioned ingredients you'll need to make it easy. Homemade meals, all the proteins, the veggies, the sauces, the spices, and more arrive in your box along with the simple instructions that walk you through each step in the cooking process. Get 10 free meals at HelloFresh.com/freeOGs. Applied across 7 boxes. New subscribers only. Varies by plan. That's 10 free HelloFresh meals just by going to HelloFresh.com/freeOGs. HelloFresh, America's #1 meal kit. I know he's going to want to talk about the Dolphins, but I do want to talk about something that you touched on there because I think it's important. You know, there was so much hoopla around your draft, right? When you getting drafted, they could trade all those picks and all that shit. Talk about that because you're walking in. You just talked about it. little bit, but walking into a locker room, professionals now that are making money, there's always jealousy. It happens.
And it's so many of them.
Yeah.
As us, it's 15 guys in the locker room. It's easy to stay connected.
Yeah.
Whereas you guys have 75, 80 guys, and it's not as easy to be connected.
Yeah, so talk about that, because that was a wild night. You know what I mean? Like I remember watching it vividly. So it's like it's fun for me to recap it with you, but like tell me what you're thinking doing it, because I think that's important.
I mean this when I say it. I feel like that whole period going from college to the NFL, and the highlight of it was the draft, was probably the worst few months of my entire life.
That's crazy.
Wow.
You know? Because I was young. I was young and naive. So in my mind, I thought, becoming the all-time leading rusher in college football history, all of the things that I accomplished.
Heisman Trophy.
Yeah,
Yep.
I felt like, okay, I made it, and I deserve a certain level of respect. And then I go to the NFL Combine, and they're just nitpicking me. My hands are too small and this and that. And I'm thinking, did you watch the film? So I just didn't feel appreciated. I didn't feel appreciated. And then when I got drafted, you can make the argument I should have felt appreciated because Dick had traded the whole draft. But I had to watch, 4 other people get drafted in front of me, and another running back getting drafted in front
Who
of me.
Who was the running back?
Edgerrin James.
Edgerrin.
Great
DJ.
running back in the Hall of Fame,
Yeah.
so I'm not taking anything away from him. But my personal experience in that moment was like, I don't feel appreciated, right? Maybe I had too high opinion of myself, but that was my, coming out of college where I felt like the most appreciated, going to a place where I didn't feel appreciated. And I can understand that on every level you have to prove yourself. But that was my process.
Speak on that, because you said obviously you and Edge in that draft, the 2 guys in the top 5. That doesn't even happen. Like running backs in this day and age, it don't happen like that.
You should
No
just
more.
ask me who got drafted that draft.
No, I understand that,
could've
but I
told
want to
you
ask
who
the
got
football
drafted.
guy for a second, real quick.
I'm not a football guy?
You are,
Kill, I
actually.
would
Put the helmet
knock
back
your
on.
Block off coming off that edge. You didn't know I was a hell of a defensive end until I got hit in the knee and I quit. It's the only thing I ever quit in my life. It's the only thing I ever quit in my life. Little white boy came off the side. I don't know
Why
if he
gotta
was
be a little
a
white boy?
fullback or a tailback, and I didn't see it. He cut me low and UD up.
it.
OG was out of there.
But
It happens.
Yeah, OG quit right then. I took it.
you make
There's a
business
dude
decisions.
when you're practicing without the pads on, you be like, I just look good. The first day you put the pads on, he don't come back the next day.
OG got up out of there.
He picks up basketball.
He's a basketball player. Exactly. That's how they know.
10th grade, that was it for me. 10th grade, I was out of there. That was it.
But seriously, I mean that, because like the game of football and that aspect, the running back aspect, obviously the way they're paying him even now, like, is changing. What do you think that is? What do you think? I mean, because you don't see 2 top 5 picks be running backs anymore. This just doesn't happen. So talk about that change and what you think it is. Is it just because they're opening it up in their air raid offenses and things like that, or what do you think?
I think it's a couple of things. And when I answer this question, sometimes jokingly I say I'm part of the reason, right? Because whether it's mentally or emotionally or physically, is running backs tend not to be dependable because the nature of the position is so rough, and you gotta at least. I mean, the way I played, you gotta love contact, because every time you touch the ball, you're gonna get hit a bunch of times. and I remember my second year in New Orleans, week 10, I had 1,000 yards, and on my 1,000th yard, I broke my ankle. And we, as the Saints, we had just won 6 games in a row, so we were rolling.
Week 10, you already did 1,000.
That's crazy.
And I was looking at the look on my coach's face when he got the news that I broke my ankle, And I could understand now why people get tired of that happening, and they're like, I don't feel comfortable giving all this money to this player when there's a likelihood if we build the whole offense around the running game and he gets hurt, then we're kind of stuck. Yeah. And I think that combined with passing games, have really opened up. And so now it's more valuable to have a running back that can do a whole bunch of things than back in my day, a big bruiser where you can get 4 or 5 yards and dominate a team. You don't see that. Derrick Henry, but you don't see it too much anymore.
They're outliers. They're definitely outliers.
Listen, never will I ever question Ricky Williams. Never. I ain't finna play that game. But do you think that they're investing more money in the offensive lineman now? Because you look at teams where your starter goes out and your backup comes in and rush for 1,000.
Yeah.
Because if you have a good offensive line,
yeah.
I was about to say Killer could rush for 1,000, but I'm a lie. That'd be a lie.
Yeah.
If you have a good offensive line,
998 probably.
If you have a good offensive line, I've seen situations where the starters gotten hurt and the backups come in and damn near got 1,000 yards just finishing out the season for the starter.
Yeah.
So you think it's more of a shift? Obviously, the things you said, but obviously the shift is we're going to invest in good linemen.
Yeah.
If we invest in good linemen, then we should get yards on the ground.
It makes it makes perfect sense. I think it's investing in linemen and also it has a lot to do with the scheme. You know, because if you have good talent, but everyone's not on the same page and you don't know what you're doing, it's not going to work. And the other thing is, I think you can get a good running back for cheap, right? But there is a certain level of player there's a superstar player that can make a difference, like Saquon Barkley.
Yep.
Yes.
And I think hopefully the league recognizes that these superstars, you got to pay
That's
the
what I'm saying. Even
superstars.
Saquon, though, like, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like,
What do you got? 3 years, 27, like 9 years.
Yeah, like 8 or 7 or 8 or 9 million or something. I mean, again, that's a lot. Don't get me twisted, but for a dude that does that,
A dude. He's a dude.
dude. Yeah.
He's a dude for sure. For
should.
sure. Yo, what time is it? Game time.
football is in full swing and the NBA is starting back up, and there's no better place to get tickets than Game Time. They make getting tickets fast and easy. Let's hit up this Heat game soon.
My people, Game Time has a new feature, Game Time Picks. That makes getting tickets to all your favorite live events and games, it's gonna be even easier for you.
Game Time picks filters out of the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets.
Man, I'm just sitting here looking through the Game Time app, browsing seats on Game Time Picks. Some crazy deals on Heat tickets right now, people. Great deals out there.
Save time with Game Time Picks as it selects the deals for you without having to waste any time digging around.
What I personally like about the Game Time app, aside from the new picks features, is the all-in pricing. Toggling this feature shows the total up front, with no surprise fees at checkout. Also the seat views. You get a panoramic view from the seat in the app before you spend your money and buy it.
Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Just download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code OGs for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply.
Again, create you an account and redeem your code OGs for $20 off. So go download Game Time today, and don't forget what time OG said it was. It's still game time, baby. We talked about the draft, but we're gonna just talk about the signing with No Limit. I'm just want to go backwards because that was for the culture. Just so you know, that was for the culture. That was around the time No Limit was hot. Everything they were dropping, Silk the Shocker had a hit album. Goddamn Master P Ghetto Dope was a hit album. Fiend had a hit. Mia X had a hit. Goddamn Kane and Abel had everything that No Limit was dropping was a hit. And then they signed Ricky Williams. That topped it off. I just had to say thank you, brother.
Yeah.
I just had to say thank you, brother.
I was trying to do something. So even when I was
Give a black man a chance too.
even when I was a kid, I thought the whole point of fame was to do something with it, to make a difference, to make a statement. And so I probably made too many statements a little bit too fast my rookie year, but I've been waiting my life for that opportunity. And I had an agent, the typical agent situation, and then I just wasn't feeling it, you know. And I saw this is, I'm a big name right now. This is a great opportunity, and every time I messed with No Limit, it was always a good experience. Like I felt like they saw me as a real person, as a human being, and it was No Limit. So when P met up with me and gave me the tank,
It was over?
Yeah, it was over.
It
It was over. It was over. I had to do it.
Nah, that was a big deal. I honestly, and not from the, being seriously, but just watching a black man, Master P, and what he was able to do in the music game, but not just stop there, to pivot and to continue to grow and evolve. Riley always told me, evolve or die. To evolve and just to have faith to just step into that lane. As a kid, I only thought about the football side of it, but as I get older, I appreciate that now as a black man, watching him do that. Because we didn't have those visions of black men doing that when we was growing up. You know how it was. Goddamn shoot basketballs, shoot pistols, or run the football. Like, you know what I'm saying? That was the option.
Or music.
It was or music.
Yeah.
But we didn't get into the agent game.
Yeah.
That wasn't our game. I had a couple brothers that was runners. You know who you are.
Runners, yeah.
I had a couple brothers that was runners. You know who you are. Keep talking about your ass was agent. Your ass was a runner, boy. but we didn't have black agents. That wasn't the visual. So I appreciate that now on a whole nother level, dog. And once again, you did something different, but that was for the culture, man. So gonna give you your flowers, dog.
Yeah, I appreciate
Give you your
that.
flowers.
Other thing that's different that I think is pretty unique too is you come out and you sign basically an incentive-based deal.
Yeah.
What was your head about? How you wrap around that?
It was the same idea of this is an opportunity to make a difference, to change people's minds. And again, I was naive, but I was the type of player really that I played for the love of the game. And at the time, the picks were kind of slotted. So there's a rookie salary cap. And since I was the only rookie that year, I said, just give me the whole rookie salary cap, and I think I should have to earn everything else after that. So I got signed for, I think, right under $9 million up front, and then basically played for the minimum, and I had to earn anything above that.
Like, what were some of the incentives in there, if you don't mind asking?
It was crazy incentives. Basically, I had to be a top three running back for 4 years straight to cash in. But that's my mentality.
Yeah.
To me, and the argument was, I had leverage and I didn't take advantage of it, but I'm not sure how it would have felt if I would have gotten all the guaranteed money and then gotten hurt and missed all those games. I'm not sure how I would have felt. How I would have felt about myself, and that's just me. So I figured, the Saints put everything on the line.
So you did the same thing.
So I did the same thing.
That's dope.
I did the same thing, and I got hurt. I mean, I missed 10 games those first 2 years, and that's the one thing because I had never missed a game before that I didn't take into consideration. So if I had to do it over again, I would have put a clause in if I get hurt. If I get hurt.
Well, you talked about it earlier a little bit. It's like you didn't feel like it was a family atmosphere again until you got to Miami.
Yeah.
So, and I know this is what he really wants to talk about. So talk about that transition. What happened in New Orleans to get you to Miami, and what was it all about? Then we'll talk about your Miami times because I know he's got to put his helmet back on.
Yeah.
Don't mind me.
Yeah. So we started off with the draft, and I got drafted to the Saints. Coach Dicker traded like 8 picks, 2 first-round picks.
It was unbelievable.
Yeah. And then we end up going 3-13, and he gets fired. He gets fired. So next year, a new coach comes in. And I'm motivated to prove myself. Yeah. So that second year, I proved myself up to week 10, and then I broke my ankle. Yeah. And I could tell that things were starting to fall apart with me and the Saints because they drafted a running back in the first round that next year. So I could see the writing was on the wall. I probably ain't gonna be here long. And then after that season, it was funny. That's when I came out with social anxiety and all the mental health stuff. So there's a lot of question marks about me. And the Super Bowl was in New Orleans. And so I was flying to the Bahamas for a Super Bowl event, and Coach Wanstead, the coach of the Miami Dolphins at the time, was in the airport on the same flight.
No way.
Yeah. So we sat down, we talked for like 20 minutes, and I could tell just him meeting me in person that he was like, okay, he's cool, And then about 2 weeks later, I got a phone call, and I was traded. I was traded to the Dolphins.
Wow.
And at the time, my best friend was a writer for the Miami Herald, a guy by the name of Dan Le Batard.
Dan,
yeah,
really?
And so I moved. It was
okay.
like I was like, I'm coming to be with my homeboy. So me and Dan, we really got really close. And the team, it was a good team that had been going to the playoffs every year. So they had a lot of vets, and so it felt like family. And I felt like they just needed a running back or something on offense to be the missing piece. And so everything came together.
Coach Wanstead really liked you because you told them 775 times in 2 years.
Yeah. NFL record.
He really liked you.
Yeah, he did.
No, honestly, like
775 guys.
we gotta
Damn,
talk
where's
about
the
it,
ice tub?
If I'm not mistaken, like, just remembering back a little bit, like you took a step back from the football period just because your body was taking a pounding and a beating. Like you was getting beat up out there.
Yeah, you get beat up enough. It forces you to take a step back and say, okay, what am I doing here?
Yeah.
It was my mortality. I started to do the math and realize how much longer am I going to be able to do this?
Yeah.
And so I finally came down to reality, and I reached out to the Dolphins and I said, if you're going to give me the ball this much, you need to make sure that I feel good about being here. So we need to handle this contract thing. And I know it's business, and I probably should have been more patient and waiting to get the numbers up. But that first response, it was so insulting. After carrying the ball 700 and something times, I was a little bit closer to doing something else, Because when you're doing something difficult, it can be meaningful, but you got to check in and ask yourself, does this feel like it's really worth it to me?
Yeah.
And I'm the kind of person, I give 150% in everything that I do. So if it ain't worth it, it ain't going to go well.
No.
It ain't going to go well.
So you just stepped away for a minute.
I stepped away.
Yeah.
And when I stepped away, I didn't think it would be for a minute. I thought I was
done.
I thought I was done. I thought I was never.
How old
We
are you at
thought
the
he
time?
was done.
How old are you at the
I
time?
was 27.
27, you thought you were done.
I thought I was done. Yeah.
What'd you do?
I started traveling.
Yeah.
I got on a plane and I just went to Australia. I went to India. I just started trying to see the world because my whole life had been just being an athlete.
Yeah.
And I didn't know who I was outside of being an athlete, but I was starting to realize there's other things out there. And I had made enough money that I had earned the right to go explore those other things.
Yeah.
But if I was just stuck being a football player, I was thinking, I'm not sure if my body's going to feel good enough to do all these things if I keep doing this. So.
They documented some of your travels, right? Some of that stuff was documented. Like, I saw them traveling and visiting different countries, and some of that was documented. You know what I'm saying?
And don't worry about people at home. We're going to do closed captioning for UD because I know y'all can't hear him with a helmet on.
They can't hear me. They heard Ricky when he did his interview. They
sure
just
did.
heard him.
So hold on. So when you go travel, you do all that stuff. What did at some point did you start like, man, I want to do this again to ItchCon? How did you get back into it? Because it's like there's got to be a moment where you're like, damn, I got to go do that shit again.
You know, football especially, it's hard. You know, and there's so many players on a team. It's like when I left, I feel like they had to make an example out of me, and so. And so the Dolphins sued me for my signing bonus.
$8 million,
They didn't even give me.
that.
They didn't even give me the
like
signing
$8 million?
bonus. Yeah.
What do you mean? Hold on. What do you mean they didn't give it to you? What do you mean?
Because I was drafted by the Saints, and that signing bonus.
They're trying to claw back the Saints out of it.
Right.
Shame on y'all.
It wasn't even for the money, obviously. They were trying to make. They're trying to make the point. Like, you can't just.
You just can't retire. We don't want people just retiring.
You can't just leave.
Yeah. We traded, we do all this stuff, and you just leave.
It's better. They used to cut off toes and stuff, but now they just.
Hey, Ricky, can I be honest with you? I felt like that too, as a fan.
Yeah.
He can't just leave.
No, I get it.
I felt like that as a fan. He can't just leave.
I get it. I had that same feeling. That's why it was so hard for me to do.
But I understood the pounding, and I understood all those things on your body because I watched.
Yeah.
I watched you physically give everything you have for us every Sunday, and I watched. You know what I'm saying?
This intrigues me though, it really does, because I obviously when you retire, when I retired, I was fortunate to play as many years as I did, 17 of them, and you're still watching, you miss it.
Yeah.
So when you retire at 27, you're rushing for 1,000 yards, and you're toting the ball like when you're traveling. Were you watching NFL football? Were you like locked into it?
It's a funny story. Not at all. So part of what made the whole retirement kind of fuzzy was about a week after I retired. It came out that I failed a drug test before I retired. So instead of
blame that.
So instead of it just being me retiring, it became about the drugs.
Yeah,
I
remember now. He didn't want to stop smoking. That's why he retired. That's how they made the storyline.
Exactly.
That's what the storyline was. Now I remember. He didn't want to stop smoking, so I got to take this shit off.
So every time I tried to watch the NFL, right, it always talk about that story. So I wasn't really trying to watch the NFL, you know. And I started traveling, so I was around. And back then, I wasn't showing NFL. Well, wasn't showing NFL games.
You had
around.
Fox and
But here's a funny story. So I was traveling, and I was on my way to India. I was gonna go up in the Himalayas and rub hash. You know, I met this dude, and I was like, that sounds like a lot of fun. And so I was on my way to India, and I had stopped over in Thailand, and I was literally waiting for the taxi to come take me to the airport to go to India, and I'm waiting in the lobby, and some little guy comes on, and he turns on the TV, and guess what's on?
Football.
An NFL football.
That's
game,
crazy.
Okay? And it was so strange. I took it as a sign, and so I went and I called my agent. I said, get me the next flight to come back to Cali.
Wow.
And so I flew back. I flew back because I felt like the way I left, it was unresolved stuff, and that even if I wanted to go on with my life in America, I'd always have this reputation, you know. And so I was like, I got to make this right so I can get on with my life. And that was the main motivation. But also the year I had away, I got a chance to know who I really was. And I felt like the first half of my career, it was like me trying to like change myself to fit in to the NFL. And that second half, it was more like, I know who I am more. How can I use the NFL to help support my goals?
So curiosity again, this is kind of fan questions for me. You leave, you retire. Miami tries to sue you for $8 million, almost like a difficult divorce where you're getting a divorce and the woman wants your money.
Yeah.
But then you come back and you sign with Miami. How did that?
I had to.
I was just going to ask.
So
that.
okay, so they had
own
your
my
rights. They had your rights.
Yeah,
Okay.
They own my rights. And that year I came back is when the Dolphins hired Nick Saban. And I don't know how or why, but Nick Saban was a big fan of me. And so I remember being in India, and I decided to come back. And he called me up. He was like, hey, I know you're not coming back until training camp, but don't you think you should be in town training, you know? And I was like, okay. And so I came back. I came back early and I started training. I got in the best shape of my life because when I retired, I lost like 30 pounds.
Wow.
So I came back like 205 when my weight was like 235, and I was faster than ever, quicker. I was lighter. My body healed with that year off. And playing for Nick, it was fun. It was fun. I had a really, really good time coming back and jump-starting my career. And it was more fun because I had gotten over some stuff, and it was more comfortable being myself.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, Nick Saban.
That's his boy. He loves Nick Saban.
I just didn't like how he told us he wasn't leaving, and I woke up and he left us.
Yeah.
But, honestly, when he came, because I don't know much about him, but I know the tradition at Alabama. Mm-hmm. Is he hard ass? Is he what? Like, tell me something about. I know nothing about Nick Saban.
Yeah.
I know his track record is he wins.
Yeah.
He's proven winner.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, we didn't have that much success that he had at Alabama with the Dolphins, but well, tell me something about Nick Saban because I don't know anything about him. Like, what kind of guy is he?
I say the most interesting thing that says a lot about him. It was his very first day of training camp, and it's hot. It's hot in Miami in July, and after practice, his first post-practice speech, we all circle around, and the first thing he said is, "Y'all need to shut the up." That was the first thing he said to us.
That's old school.
That was the first
That is
thing.
old school.
And he said, if y'all out here crying about the weather on the first day of training camp, how do you think you're going to be successful? And so the one thing, you can call him a hard ass, but he just doesn't lie to you.
Yeah.
If it's something on his mind that he really feels on a deep level, he's going to communicate it to you. And I think with that, at least for me, what that developed was a level of trust.
Yeah.
I knew I could trust not only that he would tell me the truth, but if you listen to what he's saying, if you do what he says, right, you will be successful. Yeah. And the thing he rewarded, and it was different than any coach I'd ever been around, he rewarded playing hard. He had something called the Tiger Board that he brought over from LSU. And at first we were like, what is this college? What is this college? Yeah. But it became a thing that after a game, all you cared about was, did you make the Tiger Board? Right? So he set a certain standard of how to play football.
Yes.
And it didn't have to do with stats.
Yes.
Right? It's more, did you show up? Did you meet the challenge on every play? And if you did, right, you're on the Tiger Board. So he raised the standard. If you weren't willing to meet the standard, or you were a complainer, or you pointed fingers, then 100% he's a hard ass.
No, listen, I agree with that because you have to be held to a standard, and it's something we did with the Miami Heat as well. Is we had the board at the end of the game, and the only way you can get points is for box outs, steals, deflections, all these kind of things. It had nothing to do with scoring.
That's
all
it.
No one wants to do.
And then when you look at it and you butt naked ass last in the effort department, you feel away.
Exactly.
You
100%.
feel away.
Yeah.
And now you want to play harder and you want to get your effort up. And also it was frowned upon for be last. We would definitely talk about your ass for being last.
Yeah, that's exactly what Nick did.
Yeah, exactly. And what it does, it creates a culture.
Yep.
It creates a culture because everybody has a standard that's already set, and you don't even got to talk about it. What's understood don't got to be explained. You better not be last, boy.
Yeah, that's it.
You better not be last on that board.
So you come back for a year, and the next year is a suspension year?
I almost made it through the year. Almost. It was,
Can you tell me what the NFL drug policy is? Like, how do they test it? Is it random? Do you know it's gonna come? Like, because our shit used to be we used to get 3 or 4 random tests.
I almost made it through the year.
I'm trying to figure out what's the thought process.
The last game. I promise you. I thought I had made it through because it was the year. It was the year that Texas beat USC, Vince Young, in the national championship game.
Yeah.
And so the last game of the season, we beat the Patriots. I had a good game. And I was feeling good about myself. End of the year with back-to-back 100-yard games. I'm back. Yeah. And a week after the last game, I was at my homeboy's house in L.A. on the day of the national championship game, getting ready to go.
We give you a random.
This is the NFL. No, it wasn't that. This is the NFL. I got a FedEx, right? I knew, right? If you fail a drug test, exactly 7 days later, you get a FedEx. So for years, every time I saw a FedEx truck driving in the neighborhood, scared the shit.
Goddamn man, PTSD kicking in.
Hey, it's real.
Oh,
Even
for
now,
real?
I'm like, okay, I'm good.
You see a FedEx truck now?
Yeah, I'm like, okay, I gotta remember, I'm good. I ain't being drug tested. So, and they sent it to my homeboy's house.
Damn.
So I got a FedEx at my homeboy's house. I was getting hyped for the game. Opened that letter, it said, right, you returned a bottle that was positive for THC metabolites, all right, please call Dr. Brown. I was sick. thought I had made it. Obviously, I didn't go to the game. I just watched it at home, being sick. But I bounced back.
Yeah, you did.
What's the NFL drug policy? Is it random? Is it 4? Is it 3? Like what's y'all's like?
One. It's changed, but back then it was one random test.
Okay.
And here's what got me. Okay, it was one random test a year. So my first 3 years, and I wasn't even smoking that much. My first 3 years in New Orleans, that first test was always in training camp. I got traded to Miami, and I didn't know that in Miami they test in the off season. That one test. So it was like 2 weeks after I got here. I came to work one day. And I saw the sign on the locker, and I was like, damn. I tried to run to the store and get some of those pills and that drink, but I didn't know how to use it, so I ended up failing the test. And so if you fail that one test, they put you in the drug program. And the drug program is I had to go see Dr. Toomer once a week, talk about my issues, why I was smoking. And then 9 drug tests a month. That's almost right every 2 days.
Shout out Dr. Toomer.
Yeah.
Just so you know.
Yeah.
Very well. Know him very well.
Yeah. Okay,
know him very well. Know him very well. We got the same doc. You feel me? Yeah. We got the same doc.
Hey, the funny thing is, he talked about it. That sign on the wall when you walk in. I used to see some poo poo faces.
Bro, listen.
when you walk in, they had that sign, drug
killer.
testing day. You look around the locker room, and we're like, ooh.
As soon as he said Dr. Toomer, I immediately was like, oh, you know him too.
That's his thing. Yeah.
So
9 times a month.
So Coach Saban's your coach at the time.
Yeah.
What's he say when you have to? I mean, obviously you have to call him and talk to him. Like, what? I mean, how was that? That'd be difficult, huh?
Honestly, it was a difficult conversation, but the way he handled it made me respect him even more.
Really?
Because he could understand I was a good player. He wanted me on the team, but he could also understand that playing football is hard.
Yeah.
And he said, I wish and I think this is part. It wasn't me, but I think it was one of the things why he left the Dolphins is he didn't have any control over it. And he was like, I know what kind of player you are. I know the kind of person you are. This is stupid that you can't play because of this. So he had my back the whole time.
That's dope.
And I definitely appreciate that.
Coach,
Damn,
think about how.
my bad, Nick. You all right.
Yeah, Coach.
You
Think
all right.
about
Think
how good you be in this right now. You'd have been able to do what you got to do.
Yeah, I would have been. Yeah. I like to think, though, because of the way I handled myself and what I went through, that it helped push the conversation. So now it's not so crazy where
First of all,
people are getting suspended for taking care of
Could
their lives.
you imagine NIL money?
Oh, come on.
He would have made?
Come on, man.
Oh, my God.
Come on, man.
NIL money he would have made. 97, 98, Jim Brown Award, Heisman.
And I'm glad you brought that up because we can touch on that because those guys over at Texas right now are making a lot of money over there. Talk to me about their team.
Yes,
you still watch Texas football?
I do.
They rank number 1 right now, right?
Number 1 in the country.
Okay.
What do you think? Tell me, talk about it because those guys over there making some big money now.
Yeah, and the money is a big part of it, but I think especially with young kids like that, it could get in the way.
100%.
And so
yes.
it puts a lot more pressure, more responsibility on the head coach to create culture. And I think you're seeing the teams, the universities that have that culture are the ones that are continue to be successful. And one of the things Sark has done is he's made it mean something beyond the money to be a Texas Longhorn. And I think that's why we're so successful right now.
You coached as well, too. I coached a little bit of that. You coached a little bit. How did you like that? Talk about your coaching experience.
I loved it. The kids I coached, they all broke records.
Wow. God damn.
Yeah. They did, all of them. I had 3 freshmen, and I got them all to be their best. Because to me, I had good coaches, but ultimately, I was the one that had to coach myself.
Yes. When
the coaches weren't there, what I was doing with my free time, how I watched film. So when I got to coach these kids, I just poured into them, and I loved it. Because I learned from all the things that my coaches did wrong with me, and I tried to be the coach I wish I had. And again, they respected me because of who I was, but it was a very fulfilling experience.
There's such a value in what you said there, though, and that's why I think veterans and OGs in either sport are so important because there's great coaches. You don't ever take away from coaching, but there's something to be said for someone that actually did it and strapped up that helmet and hit somebody and toted it 775 times in 2 years and understands what you're going through and the pain you're getting hit by. Like, the message is so much better, right? So, like, I think that's dope that you coach. I didn't even know that either.
For guys like us, you know what I'm saying, when you're coming from a position where at the end of the day, we telling you stuff for yourself. That's right. We don't have a hidden agenda.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Ricky's made his money. Mike has made his money. OG's made his money. You had your career. This is for you. Yeah. Whatever we tell you, whatever we're doing, it's for you. We want you to be your best version.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And when you get a kid to understand that and trust
Yeah.
Because when you get a lot of kids from inner city, it's just hard to trust. Outside of the people they grew up with, they ain't trusting no coaches.
Yeah.
You only want to be my friend because I can run fast. You only care about me shooting. You don't give a fuck about me when I leave here. And that's how it feels.
No,
you know what I'm saying? But Ricky cares because Ricky know where I'm from. Ricky grew up where I grew up. Mike cares. He know what it's like to get up and go to the gym every morning at 6 a.m. So it's just a difference, bro. And we're always going to have that connection that guys, analytical, I call them athletics. All the analytical guys, they don't have that. They don't have that.
And I feel like they think that we're like chess pieces, you know, like those kinds of coaches. And I try, like, we're human beings, and if you meet us on that level, you're gonna see us show up. But if you treat us like a chess piece, we're gonna have good days and we're gonna have bad days.
Oh no, listen, analytics almost made me quit.
Yeah.
I was like, fuck this. You gonna tell me it's my fault because the other 4 out here ain't doing their job? I'll play my ass off, coach. I'll play my ass off, coach. But I always tell people this: analytics is just an excuse to play the people you probably didn't want to play anyway. You probably ain't want to play that anyway. So the analytics is always going to work out the way you want it to work out. So
You still locked into NFL football?
I'm not, but when a game is on and I'm watching it, I'm locked in. It just pulls me back in. I'm saying if I spend a whole day watching football, my wife would have to spend the whole next day talking me out of trying to go back. You know? But like, cause I spent so much and invested so much of who I am into being great at that, and I feel like I have so much to offer specifically in that area. But the reality is, the way my life is right now, the ups and downs of winning and losing, I'm not sure I really want to get back on. Right?
Man.
When I come down to reality where you lose a game and everyone's in a bad mood for the whole week, it's like, to me, as I got older, it's been easier to put it into perspective.
That's why they always say that all the time. You better have a great wife and a good family because their misery is just, your misery is their misery too.
People ask me about missing it, and I was like, I don't miss hanging on to every loss.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Going home at night and sitting in the dark, and I don't miss that part of it. I don't. You know, because we came into an era where, you know what I'm saying, we were taught, and it was embedded into us, it was win or misery. There was no in between. There was no
talking
moral
on the bus.
Yeah.
You lose, you can't talk on the bus.
Man, there's no moral victories, bro.
You can't laugh.
Listen, I wish I would catch your ass laughing and we just lost.
Hey, let me tell you something. That had to be real tough at NFL. You got a whole week. At least in the NBA, you're playing 3-4 days, 4 days a week. You get a whole week.
Listen, you mess up, right? Every day in practice, the coach is pointing out, right? In practice, you get in the plays you messed up on. You got to hear it until the next week till you can do something about it.
Yeah,
that's the worst part. You got to wait a week to do something about it.
The Dolphins. Do you mind giving me a little bit of your opinion, your insight? You know, what do you think about Tua? I tell people this all the time. It's easy to say, standing on the outside looking in, but when somebody has committed so much of their time and effort and something becomes a lifestyle, it's not that easy just to tell somebody to walk away.
Yeah.
It's not that easy. I get what everybody's saying on the outside. Yeah. It's not that easy. This has become a lifestyle for this young man. This is what he's known. He has dedicated his life to this. To tell him to walk away at, 25, 26, that just don't translate. You know what I'm saying? So it's easy for us on the outside to say that. But what do you think?
So from the outside, I would say you got to take care of yourself. From the inside, if that was me, I'd be even more driven to get back on the field and show.
That's what I'm saying.
I ain't going out like that.
That's what I'm saying.
But I think that's the difficulty, but also the beauty of this kind of level of competition, right? It's ride or die. It's real. You know? So, I mean, to me, any professional sport, but especially football, it's not for everybody. Yeah. You know, it's a certain kind of mentality that makes you good at sports, and it's the same kind of mentality when, you know, you have a choice to do something that's good for your health or do something that's good for competition. We're going to choose to do something that's going to make us competitors. We're warriors. It's like the Vikings, you know, they said if we're going to die, right, we go to heaven if we die on the battlefield. Yeah. But if we're cowards, we go to hell. And I think that's football mentality. So, again, from the outside, take care of yourself. From the inside, I get it. Right?
Yeah,
do your
1,000%. Yeah. I get it 1,000%. What you think, Killer?
I mean, I'm definitely playing, but I also don't know what he's going through either. You know what I mean? Like again, we've all been athletes before. The noise on the outside is easy. Okay. The noise at home is hard, man.
Yeah, for sure.
That's the beast you fight all the time. It's just hard. Let's do a little NFL roundup presented by DraftKings, though.
I got one more question.
Go ahead.
A healthy Tua, a healthy Dolphins team, are they capable?
Of course. Well, they're capable of getting to the playoffs.
Yeah.
Going deep in the playoffs. You know, my philosophy on that is because I've been on teams where end of the season, right, we just got to win one more game to get in the playoffs. And when you get to the end, it's a couple of questions. One is how much gas do you have in your tank, you know? And directly related to that is how much do you love being around the guys?
Yes.
Because I've been to certain points in the season, we're so sick and tired of the coaches and each
Yes.
other, right? As you can feel unconsciously at least, you know, people are trying to get up out of there.
Listen.
They ain't trying to keep playing.
4 years going to the finals, and it's crazy, and we can look back on it now, and I don't think we understood how lucky we were and how privileged we were, but I think 4 years of going to the final, we felt like that.
Yeah.
It was like we had been around each other enough. We had seen enough of Spo. We had seen enough of we had literally that 4 years straight going. We playing all the way to the end every year. We the last team to finish. And then we got to be back in training camp and start over. And I think when we've been to after those 4 years going to the finals, I think mentally, physically, emotionally, we were tired of each other. Yeah. And I don't think people can understand that because they like y'all winning.
Yeah.
But we were tired of each other, Killer. Like,
Yeah,
they
don't understand either though. Like the time that's your family. Like you're with them way more than you're with anybody else, man. So it's
the
like
coaches was tired of us. We was tired of them.
For sure.
I'm sure the film dudes was tired of them. I mean, everybody.
All that annoys you about somebody, you just amplify.
It's double time because what we're doing is so intense, right? It brings all the emotions up to the surface.
No doubt.
So now, Killer, before we get to those fan questions, me and Ricky got to talk about something.
All right, go ahead.
Talk about that gas. Let's talk about that gas. That gas that had you running for 300 out there.
Yeah.
That 93 octane.
Yeah, y'all got something to talk about. I'm gonna sit over here and listen.
Yeah, don't act like that.
Y'all got something to talk
like
about.
that. Don't do us like that. Don't do us like that.
Yeah.
So now I just want you to talk into the other side, the next side of life, the second act. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or what you're involved in now, because you know, obviously, playing professional sports, a lot of injuries, a lot of pain. The first thing they want to do is throw a pill at your ass or shoot you in your butt cheek or some shit like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's a shot of whiskey. It helped for now.
Yeah.
But eventually, you're going to either test something worse, you're going to get hurt worse.
Yeah.
So now I'm looking at it from my perspective, and I'm being honest. My last couple of years, I ain't play that much. But I tell you one goddamn thing, I ain't need no pills either. Yeah. Yeah. I ain't need no pills either. So, you know, talk about the scientific part of it, because you've been an advocate for the scientific part of it. Not just I want to smoke dope on a rap video and pop champagne. You've been an advocate for the, you know, the other side of it.
Well, I think because the other side, it needs advocacy, because when I was growing up, right, the only images I saw of people consuming, right, it was just Snoop and people getting in trouble.
Yes.
So I didn't have an image, and that's how I interacted with it. But we talked about that experience in college. That was the first time where I was like, okay, I could see, right, a before and an after, right? No one could take that result away from me. And as I got in the NFL and things became more stressful, and like everybody else, I was just popping pills because I was young. I didn't know any different. And then my junior year in college, I got an ulcer because I was taking 8 Advil a day just to practice.
See what I'm saying, bro? God damn.
So I couldn't hold anything down. I went to the doctor, and the first thing the doctor asked me is like, "Do you take ibuprofen?" And I told him. He was like, "Yeah." He's like, "You got an ulcer." So that was the first time where I started to realize that I have to be more creative in finding out how to take care of myself. And again, I didn't care, because when you take a Toradol or Indocin, you go out on the practice field, I'm telling you, I felt like I was 15 years old.
Hell yeah.
Those days that I didn't take one, I felt like I was 80 years old. So
I've been there, bro.
So the value of the pharmaceuticals, right, I didn't question them. But after I got that ulcer, I started to open my mind to different things. And I still didn't even know that there was such thing as medicinal marijuana, but I noticed that when I smoked and I forgot to take my pills, right, that I still felt pretty good.
Exactly.
And then as I started learning more, I kind of had this idea of I want to see how long I can go in the season without having to take pills. So I just created like a health regimen. After practice, I come home, and because I was being drug tested, 2 hits, you know, I could take 2 hits, you know, 2 hits and do my little stretches. And I started to notice that this actually works better for me. And so I had my own little routine, and then, but I messed up one morning, forgot to take the drink. Ended up failing that second drug test, and then it became public, and then everything kind of hit the fan. But I found a way to use cannabis to take care of myself.
Yes.
And also just the mental and emotional strain.
Man.
You know, it got to the point where I was like, do I really want to do this? And when I first failed a drug test, I tried to stop, but I got to the point where I was like, I don't know if I want to do this if I can't smoke. I don't know if it's worth it. You know, it's like, you know, especially when you got a little money in the bank and you start to realize, you know, what's the quality of my life.
Man.
You know, it changed everything for me.
Man, let me tell you something, man. I'm 44 years old. I played 20 years in the NBA. I got 3 kids. My stepmother passed away. My father passed away. My mother passed away. I mean, I done been to enough funerals. I smokes, dog. Yeah. When I get home, the soccer mom might have her glass of wine.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have my joint.
Yeah.
I don't knock her for her glass of wine. Don't knock me for my J.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like for real. And I'm gonna be honest with you. As I've gotten into the business, and you know, we have our own dispensaries placed around Florida. A lot of times when I walk into our dispensaries, it's the soccer moms that's in the goddamn line.
Yeah.
It's the soccer moms that's in the lines. So you know what I'm
Getting
saying?
their vapes.
Yeah,
Getting
listen.
their vapes,
I had a lady the other day take a picture with me and told me she can't tell her kids because she can't tell them where she at.
Here we
Shout
are.
out, you know who you are. I appreciate you. You know what I'm saying? But
She tunes into those.
yeah, she's like, I can't show my kids because they're gonna ask where I'm at. But at the end of the day, like people are starting to understand, you know what I'm saying, the cannabis and the flower and just the effects of it. You know what I'm saying? And to me, overall, we still don't know. I think it's still more that we can learn about it. And I think there's still more benefits of it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is with the benefits is people have such a negative association. Like you said, they have to hide it. That is, it's hard to allow yourself to enjoy something that you're not supposed to be doing. So I think the more people that just come out and tell the truth about their experiences, I think we're going to see it change. Because to this point, right, people are willing to talk about that they're taking antidepressants.
Man,
right?
people
Sitting
talking
at-
about
right,
taking
talking
Ozempic.
about- yeah, exactly.
They talking about taking Ozempic and shit now. We gonna talk about Ozempic now? That shit there? You can't talk about smoking a little joint?
Yeah, it's changing though.
Yeah, come on, man.
It is changing. Hey, before we get off here, I have to ask. These 2 trades that just happened, Davante Adams and Cooper, do they change? Did that change much for the Jets?
I think it gives them hope, and I think that's what they need right
Yeah,
now.
they need hope.
Yeah, because you bring someone like Aaron Rodgers, and right, especially in the beginning, everyone's going to give him the benefit of the doubt because he deserves it.
Yeah.
You know, but then people start to lose confidence, then you're in trouble. So I think this gives people another reason to be confident and buys Aaron a little bit more time to show that he can be a leader.
Yeah, I'm excited for them.
I got a question.
Yeah.
Top 5 running backs.
Right now or all
Right
time?
now, all time.
All time. Your top 5.
Number 1 has to be Jim Brown.
Jim
Brown.
R.I.P. Great.
Number 2 has to be Barry Sanders.
Barry.
He used to
People don't know how
torch.
good he
used to
was. He
torch the
retired
Vikings.
early, too.
He used to torch the
He
Vikings.
retired early too.
Yes,
They
he
wouldn't
did.
give him no help in
No.
Detroit. He got the fuck out of there. He
Yeah.
didn't come back.
Yeah. I say, you know, after 1 and 2, you know, it gets a little tricky. But I think Adrian Peterson.
AP.
Yeah.
Gangster.
Yeah, I think he's number 3. 4, in his heyday, Eric Dickerson. No, you know, they put the old games now, the old NFL games on YouTube, and I go back and watch like those playoff games in the late 70s and early 80s. Man, that's when football was football. Number 5, Sweetness. Walter Payton.
Ooh, Walter Payton.
Isn't it crazy? I don't understand.
Walter
Isn't it crazy
Payton.
like when they show old games? It's always cold and snowy too.
Yeah.
It just smells like football.
And all the pads, they have on. And
I mean, it smells like football. Like, you sitting there
Yeah.
watching the football. It's like, damn, I'm playing this game right now. Now you watch this playoff game. It's sunny and right, like old football games brings old.
Oh, man.
It's awesome.
It wasn't nothing like it. I mean, what do you think about the new kickoff rule? You like it? You think, I mean, it definitely keeps guys healthy. You know what I'm saying? Keeps guys from coming downhill 30, 40 yards from away from each other, full speed. What do you think about that?
You know, it's difficult. I think in anyone, as you get older and you see the games evolve, you know, I'm kind of a traditionalist, so I miss the old game, but I can appreciate as a player that health is important. And I think it's still entertaining. I think it's difficult as sports evolve how to maintain the integrity of the game
Yes.
while still keeping the player safe.
Hey, before we let you out of here, we got to ask a few fan questions though.
Yeah.
I like this one right here. What was the hardest hit or hitter you ever took while playing?
Oh, that's easy.
Who hit you hard?
Easy. Ray Lewis.
I was finna say, in my head, bro, I was about to say Ray.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny. In this past week, I heard a couple people talking about how the way he trained, he just made himself solid.
Yeah.
You know? And I played against him, and my last year I played with him. And even in practice and walkthrough, when he would just walk through the hole and I had to like get in his way, right? I was like, man. But playing against him, he was so fast. He's so smart. He anticipates everything. you just know if you're playing him, it's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt.
Texas versus Miami National Championship Final. Well, yeah, I mean, we'd love to see that, wouldn't we?
I'll be lined up for that.
I'll be hold on, you know.
I'll be lined up for that.
Yeah, Miami got to hold on, but yeah, I want to see it.
Texas got to hold on. What the hell you mean Miami got to hold on?
We was in the playoff last year.
Man,
so
listen,
we're gonna be all right. When's the last time I been saying?
You right. You ain't been down for a while.
We've been down for a while too. So I mean, I know what it feels like.
I got 2 words. Cam Ward.
Hey, I seen it.
That's all I'm gonna say. Cam Ward.
Hey, I saw one other one before we get off here. You play guitar?
Really?
I pick it up and I got a 3-year-old now, so I learned how to play Wheels on the Bus.
Okay.
So it's nice to have some kind of musical ability where I can, if I hear a song I really like, it's a nice way to relax. Pick on the guitar a little bit.
We didn't get into family, but I know you just mentioned your wife, and you say you got a 3-year-old now. What's your village? A wife? How many kids?
Yeah, I have 6 kids. 4 of them are 18 and older.
Okay.
Then I have a 13-year-old and I have a 3-year-old. So,
what's the boy-girl ratio?
It's 4 boys, 2 girls.
4 boys, 2 girls. Okay.
They play football. They play football.
Some of them played. My 13-year-old, he plays. He goes to a small school, but he plays. He loves it. But my little one, my 3-year-old, I can tell he don't turn it down.
It's always the youngest. He got all the game. The youngest ones get all the game.
Yeah.
Well, man, we really appreciate you coming in, bro. For real, that was I learned. I ain't gonna lie to you. You needed this social media when you're coming because I learned a lot.
One second.
What we got?
Keep talking. I got something for Ricky.
Oh, you got something for Ricky. Yeah. But no, for real, I appreciate you coming in. I had a lot of fun. I learned a lot today. That was fun, man. I appreciate you coming in here, big dog.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And you did hand out gifts.
Okay. I like gifts.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Hold that down for you.
What we got here? Got some gear. Okay.
Uh-oh.
If you ever want to wear your jersey.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
The 40 OG.
Help you run for 300 yards in the game. And this my strain right here. 40 OG, brother. So,
I appreciate that. I got 2 of them in here.
Yeah, for sure. Because I know you don't like it.
I'm gonna get right to that. Appreciate that. Thank you.
You might run for 600 yards.
Exactly. I might be running tonight. Exactly.
We see breaking news, man.
We might come out of retirement.
But no, for real, we appreciate you, big dog.
Yeah, I got one more question before you go. Can you sign my jersey, dog?
Of course.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you for taking the time, brother.
Yeah.
I am a fan. I have very few fan moments. Jalen Waddle, I was a fan. Obviously, you, I was a fan. Everybody else, I'm just appreciative of them coming on.
Yeah.
We do appreciate that, for real. OG's out. Appreciate y'all.
What's up?